Okay. Oh, so you actually turned it off. All right. Dave's phone's been ringing during a little acoustic sessions here. All right, now let us jump back again to the Save It for Later tuning, which you're going to demonstrate for future guitar gods.
That's for our listeners viewing in black and white.
Let me take your. All right, take the reverb off your voice there.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so
that's an E.
Okay, that's no. So that's normal E, or you drop that down to a D.
I would now, and will now, drop it down to a D. You can either do it with a tuner, or you can just do it as an octave of the D string that's already there.
All right, beautiful.
Nice Ds, double Ds there.
Beautiful. Double Ds.
You leave the A where it is. The G string, which is my mistake, I tuned up to an A. Now this will be interesting because this is a wound G string. They don't always go up to an A without breaking, so watch your eyes, everybody. Here it's straining. I think we're going to make it.
My fingers are crossed.
Tight enough to cut cheese with now. It's all fairly plain sailing from now. So you've got D, A, D, and something that's still trying to be an A. Tune the B string down to an A too. And the top E string
goes down to a D. Children at home, if you're listening, be very careful to get an actual tuner if you can, because if you start with your E string on something a little bit higher
than that,
your A string is probably going to go.
And the story about Johnny Kidd and the Pirates, like everybody used to say, oh, you know how he lost his eye? Guitar string, you know. So you want to do a Johnny Kidd. I think it didn't turn out to be that at all, but that was the story at the time. Broke it on a guitar string.
So you're sitting there in the room, in your bedroom that sounds so genius.
So all the A's and the D's ring against each other, and wherever you put your finger.
Now, okay, so when Townsend gets on the phone with you, and he's like, because had he seen the fingering done anywhere, or was he just trying to?
He was trying to work it out with David Gilmour just from the parts being played on the record.
Oh God, you probably had him confounded forever.
It was wonderful. Because those two notes there, the difference between the and makes all the difference in the.
Right.
I mean, listen to that. That ring forever. I mean,
now that sounds like a Jimmy. It sounds like a Jimmy Page tuning.
Still ring. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Kind of. Bronyar stomp.
Yeah,
or something like that. Yeah, exactly.
So and it's taken me forever. Now that I have that on videotape, I'll be able to remember exactly how it is.
And he's just away and running it. The bloody thing will play itself, to be honest, Mike, once you've got it.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay, and basically when you're actually playing this thing, and hopefully if you hold the camera close enough to the, hold the guitar closer to the camera for 1 second, show them the first chord. Which is basically you're just playing two notes.
Oh, I can't see the frets while I'm holding the guitar.
Remember that for the rest of my life. All right, so that being said, you're sitting there in your bedroom in Birmingham, the house you grew up in, or had you moved out at this point?
Oh, I'd moved out. My dad helped me move out, I think, when I was about 17. As far as I remember, as far as I recall.
So you've been.
Did he jump or was he pushed?
So he tossed you out, and you're living in your own pad. Had you figured this tuning out before you joined the beat, or?
Yeah, about when I was 18, I wrote Save It for Later. It was one of the first songs I ever wrote, but a long time before the beat, anyway.
Do you remember, so roughly what year you wrote it? Because it came out in what, 70?
It came out on the third beat record, because some people in the beat didn't like it at all, didn't want to have it on the first two records. It was only when the record company started going, you're nuts, and they forced the issue, and then reluctantly it was allowed on the third record. with End of the Party. End of the Party was written at the same time too. Those were the first couple of songs I wrote, entirely wrote till I was finished with them. And,
so correct me if I'm wrong though. So before you were doing the beat stuff, when you were writing these songs, you said you were listening to John Martin when you were a kid.
Yeah, John Martin.
Who's very, I want to say, dare I say, folky, but beyond folky. I mean, he's like atmospheric folky.
Yeah, that's right.
And then who else were you listening to? And
Van Morris and Tim Buckley.
So where did the Motownish influence come from? Because your voice, obviously, you knew you sounded more like a not Smokey. What's his name? More like a.
I wanted to be in the Four Tops if there was.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd like to have been in the Four Tops or a Jordanaire. That was the dream, really. They all sort of rolled into each other. The Tamla came from an earlier period, from my early teens. And we were very lucky in England in one respect. There was only one radio station, Radio 1. There wasn't any local radio. And so there wasn't an ability to have any radio apartheid. It was like, if it was a good song, it was on the radio 1. So you'd have the Rolling Stones, Diana Ross and the Supremes, the Beatles, Four Tops. And it would just go like that. We grew up not knowing. In fact, not until we first arrived in America and started spinning through, and it was like, oh, what's this? Well, where'd you hear this? Oh, you need to listen to a black station. We're like, a what? Oh, do you? Oh, well, that explains quite a lot then, don't it? Because we had people at our first shows playing in colleges in America, and they said to us quite genuinely, somebody's covered that Tears of a Clown of yours, it's much slower, you can't dance to it. I was like, oh my God. Okay, well, it's ugly. I'll take it even if it's ugly. It's like a goal in football. You'll still take it. Yeah.
I don't care if it dribbles across.
Yeah, that's
it's still
right.
a goal.
You take it.
It's funny you say that because when Annie Lennox first came over, first time I met her in the town I grew up in Detroit. When she first came to Detroit, I went to meet her at the after the gig, and Dave Stewart sitting there, and I met him. How's it going? Where's Annie? She's in the back. She's crying, and I'm like, what's she crying for? Yeah, go have a chat with her. So I walk back there, and she looks at me and she goes, "Where's all the black people?"
Oh, bless.
And I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "It's Detroit, right?" And I'm like, yeah. She goes, "Where's all the black people?" Same thing as you. You just imagine you're going to come to a city, but at the time it was only MTV that was really playing you guys, and Eurythmics.
That's right.
So in essence, the suburbs had MTV.
Yeah.
The inner cities didn't.
Yeah.
So the black kids didn't even realize who Annie Lennox was. They would have been there, had they known. But at the same time, you guys covering Motown songs.
Yeah, I know. No, it was quite peculiar. And interesting enough as well, I think, about Detroit and Birmingham, where I'm from, being so similar. They're like both motor cities, they're both hard,
factory towns,
rough, cold factory towns.
People die over a pint of beer.
Yep, that's right. You look the wrong way, you could lose an eye. And I talked with my friends in the Romantics about it quite a bit, and we're actually in the process, slowly but surely, of trying to write a song about it and why this happened. Because there's so much music out of Detroit. And by happenstance, so much music came out of Birmingham.
Which we should point out, too, is not just English beat and that stuff. There was also...
Even the generation
Black
before
Sabbath,
came out of there.
Zeppelin for the most part.
Zeppelins from just 15 miles outside in Stourbridge. The
Wonder Stuff.
Move, Electric Light Orchestra, Justin Hayward's Lot Moody Blues, they are from Birmingham. And then when we started up, all around the same period, UB40, Dexys Midnight Runners and The Beat hit at about the same time, with another great group, the Au Pairs, who were like a late punk band who just made it a bit too late as punk was going out, which is a shame. They had some great songs. And then we had our little heyday, and then all of a sudden the only way you could get on the TV was you had to wear something out of your mom's closet and put a bit of makeup on, and Duran Duran stole all of our thunder.
Another Birmingham band.
Yeah.
So in essence...
Sneaker Pimps come out of there the last few years as well. That was another group I liked. So there's always been this thing. I was talking with Wally and the blokes out of Romantics about it, and we thought that perhaps it was because when you looked around, it was so appalling. It forced you to dream of something better. So this song we're writing is, I just close my eyes and dream of something better. Mm-hmm. Which is what we think some of the rationale for so many tunes. A bit like that Buddhist notion of the biggest lotuses growing out of the dirtiest swamps, you know? We think that it might be something to do with that. We started writing up lyrics and sending them to each other.
And it'd be great if you, the Romantics, Iggy, I don't know if you want to get Ted Nugent on there, because I don't know.
As long as he doesn't have to kill any animals on stage. You know, we'll try and feed him up first.
All right, so anyway, the bedroom, you pick up this guitar. How does the riff come out? Do you remember? Do you remember the first time that you actually kind of figured out? Because it really is a genius riff.
Well, I think